Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett, joined, as always, by the man so professional he moved to an entirely new state between episodes and is already up and running in his new home studio. Congratulations on the move, Kyle Fergusson.
Thank you. It's good to be in an official studio.
I'm so excited for you, man, because I remember what that was like, and it wasn't good. It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Wait, you're talking about like not having a studio, having to use a mattress to absorb sound.
Do you remember when I had to record StarCast from my garage with no AC?
From the garage, yeah. We've come a long way.
Yeah. I almost stopped podcasting around that time.
Well, it was a tumultuous time. We did not have Heroes of the Storm either, so I think we were in the start of the Swarm host meta, which, if anyone's heard us talk about it, it is a dark time where nothing what you did mattered.
Unless you were in a TVP or a mirror match.
Yeah, then things could be kind of interesting. That's true.
Yeah, but the Swarm host meta killed StarCast. It killed a podcast.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
I mean, honestly, as a Zerg player, I would say that medevac boosting killed StarCast more, and then the eventual cyclones and just a bunch of random crud, even mules, man. Like, I know you gotta give pros a bunch of crap to do on the sides because they get bored with their massive APMs, but come on.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah, all these like subtle small things that add up in tiny ways to be of just such a large amount of one of the most technically difficult games to play in the world, compared to dropping an actual dragon. This is actually that almost sounded like a takedown, and I didn't mean it to be. Yeah, dude. I don't know about you. I don't know how you've been doing in Heroes of the Storm. I'm sorry, I haven't watched your stream, so I'm going to learn a lot of things about you, Kyle Fergusson, today. I am like laughing my ass off. I feel like a new park opened, like a new section of like Disney or Universal opened. Like I'm in Heroes of the Storm right now, just cackling like a madman because it's absurd. It is crazy. I know it's nuts, and you know me, man. I can't handle the nuts. So I'm not Storm Leaguing right now. I'm in quick match. And I would unranked, but it's like 8-minute queues for unranked right now. So do you know what Heroes of the Storm is right now for people playing quick match, Kyle? It is all Deathwing all the time, both sides. Hope you can tell the fire apart. P.S. You can't.
I mean, at least there's a blue circle around where he's going to land. It's not completely unknown which Deathwing is having at you, but yes.
It's a giant fire effect, and a tiny little thin line is the only delineation between whether it's friendly or not.
I've heard a number of people playing things like Sonya on main, but mostly, giant killers just going crazy. I've also heard from Novas who are having a fantastic time because the pure chaos of two giant dragons means Nova gets to do whatever the heck she wants, stand anywhere she wants, snipe anybody she wants, and no one's really paying attention to her tiny little spell effects.
That's actually a really interesting consideration. Yeah, I think Nova got a huge buff with this patch, just because of the problems with collecting certain things that are now really important to the game of Heroes of the Storm. I'm still like, I keep going. I am the most oscillating fan in the world, Kyle. And as a matter of fact, if you could buy an oscillating fan that was just constantly doing a 360, that is me right now, because I'm constantly ebbing and flowing between this is the most absurd thing. I'm having so much fun. I can't believe what's happening in my game with, I think, some of my all-time favorite heroes are the worst things ever. And then I go into this dark place. I'm like, Zagara will never be good again because she feels terrible right now. And then it just keeps oscillating. I'm like, but Sonya, I think Sonya is the Lamborghini of heroes to take out of your garage right now because it's amazing. And then I go back to the dark place a little bit because I haven't played Sonya in so long. I'm not used to landing the spear with the damn movement speed. So, but I'm still laughing at myself because it's hilarious when you miss a spear on something as big as Deathwing. It's ridiculous. I'm having
That's
a
all
great
fair.
time. I'm having fun.
I'm really happy to hear that.
I'm having a lot of fun, even though I think my favorite hero of all time is bad now. I think absolutely. I think Zagara might be a trash tier hero now.
Yeah. I gave Zagara Giant Killer a go, and I was in lane against Deathwing, and he didn't care at all about me in the early game. I could not impact his health because he zoned me out of both orbs, and then he got 2 orbs, and I couldn't do more damage than he could put out. His breath is disintegrating my creep, which means I'm not moving fast enough to really run out of the creep or out of the breath. And if Deathwing is confident, your team is going to suffer. Enemy Deathwing gets to stand and do his big old Q wherever he wants. That's your time to punish him. And if you can't, Deathwing's winning really, really hard. Yeah. And Zagara doesn't scare him off at all.
No, not at all. And that's a very good point. I hadn't really thought of what life will be like when Deathwing calms down for Zagara. It probably won't be as bad because Deathwing, being an energy-based hero, can just clear creep to his heart's content. He's not really like spending anything except for a short window of a few seconds to take care of that creep. So that's a good point. I bet it's got to be like a double down on how bad it feels to play as Zagara at the moment.
Yeah, Incinerate walking around, just popping your creep with a very large area. It's not a mystery for where it's going to be for him. His auto attack is massive, so if for some reason he doesn't clear it fast, one little auto attack is going to take care of the rest. I tried it out. I was excited to see what Zagara could do with some of her balance, but then I went into ranked and it was basically the same as it's always been. And in fact, I would say ranked week 1 is the best it's felt because everybody who's feeling weird and wacky is in quick match playing Deathwing. And we just first banned Deathwing because we're not really sure what he's about yet. He has rotations. He can be global, but you really do have to plan them out. And he's slower than your Falstads, of course. You're not going to really wow everyone with your arrival, but I love how much he talks. Like just the dinosaur field, the Jurassic Park classic. I mean, I've got a cat, and sometimes middle of the night, 5 a.m., he just walks around screaming. So I believe that dinosaurs just walked around roaring all the time. And I love how much Deathwing is just barking it up and making a bunch of noise. Maybe they're switching forms off screen. I know when he's in the air, you can hear him kind of flying around. It's just a great atmosphere that he brings. And landing as a big old dragon is a great fantasy. I'm having such a fantastic time with him.
I'm glad. I really like him. I liked his kid. Again, I've only played an AI because I didn't want to wait in the queue for PTR, and I don't want to wait in the queue this week. Like I'd rather get in there because there's so much there's so many other things to relearn and with XP globes, and it changes with each and every hero that you play. I think in terms of how much agency you have over whether you can even get the orbs or not. So I'm definitely not bored. I'm learning all kinds of things this week. But even that being said, I would like to play some Deathwing, but I'd rather get into more games quickly and kind of learn the metagame other than just learn a single hero. So,
well, I suggest /join A-Move TV. Say that you're going to play Deathwing, let everybody know, but a 5-stack does make that queue a lot shorter. It takes you from about 2,000 to 300, 160.
Maybe you folks in /join spacebar AMOVETV in the game could even put together a rotating team. You all take turns.
There we go.
Everyone gets a turn on the Deathwing.
Yeah.
Everyone. Unless you don't want to. That's fine. But yeah, it's a great channel to join. If you're not in there already, you should go check it out. But yeah, man, other than that, yeah, Sonya back in full force. Just please don't judge my spears because a little rough. A little on the rough side. So I've been dialing in my mouse sensitivity for the first time in a very long time in Heroes of the Storm this week.
So you're lowering the number?
I'm lowering it very slightly. I like a more sensitive cursor in Heroes of the Storm. I can't explain why. It's just like a feeling thing. It just feels like, because you and I much earlier this year, we got you into a battle royale for the first time ever with Apex Legends, and we had a lot of conversations about mouse sensitivity and why it should be like way lower than you might probably expect if you haven't played FPSs before on PC. That being said, and here's a storm, I like a pretty damn sensitive mouse cursor because I like to, at the drop of a hat, be clicking on the complete opposite end of the screen from where my cursor was before.
Right.
But there's obviously, as with all games, a place where it should be. And I'm noticing because I'm obviously going from like slamming Rexar games to now slamming Sonya games. And where your cursor needs to be to land a Misha charge is way tighter on Sonya if you're trying to land a spear. It's a way larger margin of error. So I'm dialing it in. So I'm going a little bit lower right now. So
what score?
It's been interesting. It's been an eye-opening week. It's like back to school, man. But it's like good kind of school, like graduate classes. Like you're there because you want to be there, not because you're just trying to make your parents happy.
Okay, yeah, I feel you. Not subjected to the same classmates over and over again, so they make fun of you and whatnot. No, you keep changing classes, you change teachers all the time. You get to have a good time with it. You make your own rules, your own life.
Exactly. All of your professors are those cool professors. Like, I don't take attendance. If you just do your work and you're fine. If you don't want to show up today, okay, just make sure it's not a test day. That's what it's like.
I did have a geography teacher who made you choose between where you'd be weighted. So you could be weighted on your tests more or your attendance more. So if you knew geography, you could just not show up to class and ace all the tests and get a full grade. Or you could be awful at memorizing things like I was, but be decent at making it on time, and you'd be okay.
I think that's a good metaphor for life. Like, if you're good at it, you could probably sleep in a little later and get by just fine. And if you're not, you're going to have to work a lot harder.
Yeah, sometimes you can roll into the room and everyone pays attention to you, but sometimes you get to the party early so you can greet people as they come in. But before we go on, what score did you land on for your mouse, if anyone's out there curious about misery?
It would only be helpful if I knew what my DPI setting was off the top of my head, and I don't.
Oh, right. Oh, that that multiplier.
Both of those things. It's whatever your DPI setting is plus the actual, number in Heroes of the Storm. So I don't know.
That's true, yeah.
I haven't looked at it, honestly, since Apex Legends. So it's at 45%. Right. So if you go and dig up Enter the Apex, which I think is still up, and you listen to the episode, we were talking about our mouse DPIs, you could probably sleuth that for yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'll figure it out at some point. Well, remind me and we'll follow up next week, Kyle.
Sounds good.
But yeah, anyways, before we get into the meat of today's show, which is news because there's just so much happening in the Nexus this week, we want to thank those of you who are supporting us over on our Patreon. If you're unfamiliar with it, it is a way to opt in to support Into the Nexus. Just head on over to patreon.com/ITN. We have hundreds of fine folks over there. We like to call them our bosses, and they are the finest bosses we have ever had in our lives because they're supporting the show. And so if you like Into the Nexus, if you like us having guests on, like there's so many things that the Patreon lets us do, which is one, just spend time making the show, spend time in post, making the show sound good, all kinds of things that go into it. But we also have patron game nights once a month, which you get access to. We have the patron only Discord. There's perks like that. And we even get to pay our guests thanks to your support. So this week, I want to thank some of our newer patrons. And I have had multiple patrons inform me, Kyle, that you don't have to enter your last name in Patreon, so they can obscure it if they want it obscured, and that they think it's funnier when we struggle to pronounce their last names.
Perfect.
So,
well, that's what you get around here.
I'm going to start doing last names. So Clint Driscoll, thank you so much. I'm pretty sure I got that one right. Unless it's Driskill, which is exactly what my handle would be if that was my last name.
Yeah,
Capital
in
K.
5th grade, I wanted my name spelled with an I instead of a Y, but we all can't have what we want.
Yeah. Also, Kellen Franklin Shepard, thank you. Sir Charles, spelt all elite speak like. I hope that's honestly your real name, because that would be wonderful. Yeah. And finally, Jack Taormino. That's what I'm going to go with.
Jack Turismo. It's the trivia racing game.
Trivia racing game. Nice. With a shaved head looking up at a question mark.
Yeah, was that a guy? Was I supposed to know who that was?
I guess that was Jack. Or maybe it was someone who didn't know Jack because they were clearly struggling with a question in their mind.
Oh, right. Could be.
I only ever played that, I think, in like 3rd grade because I think we had a class computer and that was on it.
Yeah, that was on there. We definitely had that, like some sort of dinosaur exploration game. Mavis Beacon. I assume they still teach typing. I heard they don't teach cursive anymore, though, and that's messed up. How are you going to read your grandma's notes?
Oh, hey, Kellen Shepard's in the chat room right now. It's K-Shep. Thank you. Well, awesome. Anyways, thanks for the support, everybody. And now we're going to get into this week's show, essentially, because it's all news. It's all news. There's so much going on.
We're on, boys! Let's liven up this place!
The moment is upon us.
Yes, I'd mana tap that.
I would too, Kael'thas. Deathwing is here. He has hit. And just goodness gracious me, Kyle. Dragons are dying left and right. So you know how last week, or was it? Yeah, it had to be last week. I was like tweeting about how I got the giant slammer build, Sonya, and on PTR, and it was just delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had an even more just amazing moment killing a Deathwing today where the Deathwing did his Cataclysm, his R, like the big windup where he flies and leaves all the fire below.
Sure.
So I just kept wailing on him during the windup. Dude flies, and I just walk in his fire for the flight time, which isn't too long. I was at full health, by the way. That's why I was able to get away with this. And as soon as Deathwing lands, one slam is all it took to kill him. And the momentum carried. So this Deathwing is flying, goes to land, dies, and the carcass just scoots a little bit on the Nexus floor. And I must have blown my mic out to poor Doribo, who was listening to me cackle like a madman as it happened.
Physics are fun. Thank Half-Life for that, I guess.
Yeah,
Deathwing.
I guess so.
Right? Right? Because we got physics puzzles in Half-Life 2, and everyone was like, oh my god, you can move a box. Let's make Fear 3. And Fear 3 was weird, but we still, moved boxes.
That was quite the jump, but yes. Yes. Deathwing is here. Have you played many Deathwing games, or did you just go straight to Storm League?
No. I've played a good number of Deathwing games. I'm really enjoying him. I've got a dream build, and I've got the build that I usually end up on. There are some cool interactions, but just to get to the meat and potatoes right now, in the Storm League, Deathwing has a 58% win rate. Now, it's only 430 games, but still, that's looking pretty handsome. The wind-up and delivery of your Earthshake Slam, your stun, for 0.75 seconds is very quick in melee, a lot slower in the distance, but causes interruptions. There are so many things you can do to interrupt objectives, whether it's a lava pool or Skyfall, your level 7 that rains down meteors. On any map like Cursed Hollow, Towers of Doom, where the objective reveals, you can just sit up there in space and repeatedly interrupt. So there's some really cool tools. Earthshake is definitely really powerful today. I don't know if it will be in 3 weeks, just because we're not watching the animation. There are so many people accidentally standing in that thing. You can use your lava pool too to sort of overwhelm the eyeballs and then do a slam around it, and people kind of miss the graphic. So I think a lot of this is just Deathwing trickery at the moment.
Yeah. The pools have that's what stuck with me more than anything this week is just what a change of the landscape the lava pools are. Because standing in them and I don't give a crap about the damage.
No, the damage is like 6 a second.
I think it's 16, but yeah.
6.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Not but a second. You corrected me correctly, and I've just 6.
Well, yours is more metal, so I'm going with it. It's the slow. You have a 35% slow when you're moving through the pool, which the ability is called lava burst. But like, let's face it, we're all looking at a lava pool. That's what we're looking at. And if there's one thing that I feel all Deathwing players have picked up very quickly, it's the perfect place to put this so that it is the most inconvenient to go around. Cause like, dude, do you ever like stand in the mud for like, you ever have that day that we all have it one day. We have that one game every week where we forget about the mud in Alterac Pass and we stand in it for too long. And we're like, oh my God. Oh, I can't get to the fighting time. That's happening all the time, constantly in possibly any location when you least expect it with a Deathwing in your game.
Yeah.
That's to me the thing that I'm afraid of the most. That and just fighting Deathwing in a choke, like ever, for any reason, because basically all of his abilities suck in a choke.
Right. It's kind of like a on-demand Phoenix laser. You are from behind going to really feel that Q breath, molten flame, and you're going to be completely zoned out. And once a team breaks, you get to run all over everybody. You get to do whatever you want. Deathwing cannot really stop the issue. But from ahead, he's going to control that map, and it's very, very powerful. And the main build has kind of developed. Right now, it is, at 51 games. It's not a lot, but 80% win rate on that guy. And we're looking at really kind of an auto attack utility build, something that is more universal. There is a build with the Incinerate where you do damage around you. It's really, really awesome. When you're so ahead that you can be all over the enemy team, you'll destroy. You'll be the destroyer, arrival of a god. It'll be so cool. But for the most part, you're going to get poked. You need to take the early game safer. And there's something I really want to talk about here, which is Draconic Might, the level 1, that gives you heals through your auto attacks. But upon losing armor, Deathwing becomes protected for 0.75 seconds. And by chance, this week, not only is this great for, walking out of a Tychus who's just trying to grind you down, 1.5 seconds out of a Tychus minigun, that's a lot of time. Or just the 0.75. You're going to at least get maybe at a distance. But the protected also catches last rites. It can catch cursed bullets. And the way Malthiels kind of get excited when you're around like a 4th health, they tend to trigger the protected while the last rites is going, and you can completely dodge it.
So, but everything you just mentioned, well, Tychus if Tychus is locked on, Tychus is locked on. Minigun is a duration. It is what it is, right? You have no control over that. But Malthiel and the others you mentioned, it should be something you can learn to play around.
Exactly. You need to break the armor first, get through the protected window, because this talent will become more popular as people see this, and then activate your last rites.
Yes.
It's also important to note for Malthiels out there, your perspective's going to be a little weird because you are going to have armor, and last rites is that weird, like it deals damage based on a percent, but that is flat total damage that can be armored through, which is why a Nubarak in a perfect scenario is a decent Malthiel counter. Otherwise, you like Leorix and stuff, the duration, it's nice to get out of it, but Draconic Might, really look at it level 1. Today, there's some cool stuff you can get away with.
I have basically, this is all I see Deathwing's taking at that level. I've been having to learn that myself, playing against the Deathwings of, if they're protected, it's okay. It doesn't last long. Stay on them, finish the kill. Or if you're pretty sure you're going to overextend by staying on them for that extra second, essentially, it's probably best to just let the Deathwing go.
Yeah.
Unless you're Sonya, because then you can just whirlwind heals for all the badness on the other side of that, as long as somebody's backing you up.
When it comes to heroics here, we have a much higher win rate, 62%, nearly 63% on Burn Beneath My Shadow. Whenever you destroy a fort or keep, you get a reset. It allows you to just have a stupid amount of mobility. The amount of aggression you can turn on knowing a fort is going to go on and have a second one of those cataclysms to follow up. Towers of Doom, is right there. We were talking about it earlier with Skyfall interrupts. Those towers are coming and going all the time. You can get mad cute just flying over walls for fun with nobody to attack when you know one of those towers is going to go down. Bellowing Roar, still 54% win rate, but that wind up. And compared to the size of Deathwing, most people are running away from him when you're on top of them. So they're already out of range of the fear.
Yeah. I've been feared a few times by Deathwing this week, but I don't know. The hero's been out properly in the live game for a couple of days max.
Yeah.
But so whatever, everything's kind of anecdotal today, but everyone I think is playing their Deathwing too aggressive, because every time I've been feared by a Deathwing this week, it's just been like a minor inconvenience.
Well, and you run away from him and you want to keep people close to you. So if anything, a cower would be way more effective to have them just sit there and Horrify? Well, what's the Shadow Priest thing, right? There's the psychic scream that caused you to run away, but then there was the other fear that Shadow Priest had, where you just stood there getting all quaky.
Oh, yeah. I forget what that was called. I don't know.
It might not even be around anymore.
Probably isn't. But it might be coming back because they're bringing back it doesn't matter. It's not a WoW show.
Right. WoW expansions, man.
Moving on. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think the fear does not seem. It seems very counterintuitive to what Deathwing wants to do. So
right, and sometimes you land behind them all, you fear them all into your team. It's really sexy, but for the most part. A couple of other important things about Deathwing we figured out. Zagara's Maw does not work at all, but it does create impassable terrain, and so does Nazebo's Zombie Wall. And body blocking Deathwing, a big guy, into a space is a pretty effective move in the first place. So you may get some value out of a Maw, even though it won't work on him.
Well, that's good. Like, dude, we do a show about that. Like, maybe this just says something about me. We do a show about this. We were painfully aware of the fact that most things should not affect Deathwing, and yet I'm here going this week like, why isn't that stun hitting? Why did my mom miss?
Oh, totally.
It feels so weird in application. Having played the game since the technical alpha, it was just it feels so bizarre. And even though like I've been making a lot of jokes for 2 weeks now about how easy it is to kind of kill a Deathwing, the fact that the Deathwing just keeps coming, it is unsettling. And there's something to it. There's something to it. I think we just need to all learn to play a little more conservatively as a giant scary dragon.
Yeah, and we don't target our Johannas as much. So you kind of watch that bar go by for the unstoppable. Garrosh becomes unstoppable, but we like to wail on Garrosh a little more. Deathwing's just getting wailed on all the time because everyone wants to counter him in quick match. So the fact that you are absorbing Muradin shots doesn't really compute. You just want to throw things at the big dragon walking towards you. There are a couple of CCs that do work, though. Maev's Containment Disc, Void Prison, and Chromie's Time Trap all work on him.
So Daribo is in chat room right now kind of talking about this and saying that it's very strange the mod doesn't work because it works on other unstoppable heroes, citing Lightning Breath Diablo as a really good example of that.
Yeah, that was a classic counter back in the day when Zagara was big. If you had Diablo and you Lightning Breath, you lost the whole duration. You were technically breathing inside there, getting nothing done.
Yep.
So I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, are they just making an exception for this one hero? We're not really used to exceptions in Heroes of the Storm.
Well, you know what it could be, honestly? It could just be resources. When you spin him in the store, he does not stun, which, is kind of cute because, hey, he's unstoppable all the time. He doesn't get stunned in the store. But if he was accessible by a Zagara Maw, you make a stunned animation while inside the Maw, and he has none. So they may have made a rather, crucial choice to just say no animation for Maw. Doesn't work.
I mean, I feel like they could have gotten away with no animation. Does it really matter?
He could have just stood there with a little spiral over his head. It wouldn't be the worst thing on earth.
What I'm trying to say is I challenge that because I feel like if it really was a resource issue, like it was like, damn it, a stun animation takes like 2 more weeks in the animation pipeline. Let's just pass. I strongly doubt that is the reason, because I'm sure they could have figured out a more budget friendly or time friendly way to make it happen.
Absolutely. There's probably some animation where he, lifts up his hands and you could throw him to that for half a second.
Yeah, he just T-poses and shrinks down into the ball.
Perfect.
Oh my God. I've been reminded that T-poses are a thing because they happen randomly and without warning in Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, well, I'm waiting on that game. It looks like it's a little clunky. Same with Phoenix Point. Oh, I'm so sad. Phoenix Point has had a bunch of bugs.
I can't tell if you're going to really like or really hate Jedi Fallen Order because you like Dark Souls, Sekiro, those types of games. And you can make it hard but if you turn the difficulty up. But I there's not as much nuance there.
It's about the hitbox and sword play. So I'm excited to try it out. And it is on Steam. So if anything's on Steam, I'm like, well, $15 some Christmas.
Yep. Whatever the case is, back to Deathwing now that we're talking Star Wars, and that's just where my brain goes. All I'm hearing is TIE fighters now. Yeah. So how do you like to play him? I mean, you kind of talked to it a bit at the top, and I even mentioned choke points. Like that to me, choke points, that's the most obvious one. Like Deathwing can just do so much damage in tight corridors that it can be tempting because you're like, ooh, the Deathwing's trapped. But then the Deathwing just breathes fire, just makes it a fire tunnel. Like that's the end of it. And if the team is backing the Deathwing up, like it had nothing's changed that much since my thoughts as far as PTR last week, because I really thought that like a Deathwing by itself was really not a big deal. It was kind of, it went against, to me, I think, almost the fantasy of the character, because of like, oh, I see Deathwing, he's by himself, let's kill him, let's just bully him because he can't hit me with his abilities efficiently if I'm buzzing around. But if the Deathwing was backed up, it was really scary, because suddenly everything you've known about Heroes of the Storm doesn't necessarily apply, especially if you're the type of person like me that feels a great deal of courage going into any type of fight with CC, and knowing that a large amount of damage potential is not going to be affected by that. So I still feel the same way. Deathwing by himself, I kind of laugh in the face of. Doesn't really scare me. I kind of just bully the Deathwing. But a Deathwing backed up by the team with good positioning scares the hell out of me. Very, very scary.
Yeah, it's such a different combination than what we're used to, though, because he is decently high damage, and you mix a bruiser with a support, you're going to have a pretty decent go at it. But without the support being able to interact, I mean, I don't know how many Lucios dropped a beat on me this week, only to realize, oh yeah, whoops, and we all went down together. That sort of combination doesn't work anymore. But Deathwing plus another CC, Deathwing just sort of being too loud over the top of a Vala on your side, that can get a little crazy. Deathwing Tychus, I mean, for one, we're just removing the Tychus from the enemy side in quick match, but that's a really good combo because you're able to do some mini stuns, you're able to slow, and Tychus really likes having a big body in front of him. And I think this speaks.
That's such a good point. I want to hammer that home, because of all the things I think we need to wrap our brains around and get used to very, very fast with Deathwing in our game is exactly that. The noise that a Deathwing brings, and to not let that distract you. Well, honestly, I don't think it's an option. Like, it will distract you. It is straight up difficult to see sometimes the other members of the opposing team if they're fighting basically under their Deathwing, because it's just such a large model and it's so visually interesting. It's really hard to see them, and God help you if they like did a red and black skin or this new Brightwing running around. I've been trying to kill Brightwings all week, Kyle. I can't find them. They're just they're Deathwing's son, and they're on a papoose on the chest. It's the end. You can't. They're attached at the hip.
Nice word usage.
Yeah. It's almost like a friend of mine had a child recently. I've been having to think about child things. That's it. I think, at least for me, and I would put this out there as my tip, I think the number one homework for all of us is to get good at seeing the target within the Deathwing, like seeing the heroes that are clumped up around Deathwing, because those are your targets. Those are the targets that are affected by your CC. Those are the targets with significantly smaller health pools that are going to die faster than that Deathwing, unless, of course, you are the Deathwing counter, which there are multiple options to go around. But
right.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And as the Deathwing, you need to be thinking very forward focused. You need to hit your bite attack, your onslaught, at the bite distance where you'll get the slow off. It's kind of a Johanna-like tanking, but you're in the brood row, so hopefully you have a ETC Johanna with you. You need to breath early through the bush to make sure they don't come in that way. Once they're in, that's when the trouble starts. We're seeing that a little bit with win rates. I mean, right now, Elementium plating at 16 is taking it away a little bit, 65%, but Conflagration just feels great. This is the one that once they take a certain amount of damage, it increases with every level, but your damage increases with every level. At that number, they start burning and exploding, and it happens really fast. It's a great way to punish people who can't get out of the breath fast enough, and basically anybody but a Vaulting Vala can't, and even if she does, she took enough damage that she's now scared. So you did your job. And that's kind of where he's really going to succeed. And I'm curious to see if we just start circumventing him. As you sort of said, you know, Johanna, smaller target, but when everyone goes, hey, ignore the unstoppable, Let's go get that, Morales behind her. Things start falling apart, and that's where Deathwing's sitting right now.
Yeah, because you've got the pool and you've got Earthshatter, like to try and like when people, and it's not really your job as the Deathwing, right? Like he's not a tank. He's not the best at peeling. He's actually kind of poor at it. So when you start depending on your Deathwing as the tank, that's where I feel the kind of the error happens. It's when you open yourself up to some serious deaths on your team. Because if the opposing team goes, oh, we'll just go past the Deathwing, you're going to be in trouble. Because what's the Deathwing going to do? If you're not in a choke, the pool can be circumvented, and Earthshatter is on a 12-second cooldown.
There's also a large amount of downtime when you are moving, being global. You can't think of them as the same way as a Falstad, because Falstads go, 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 cooldown hits, it's go time. But every time you auto-attack, cast an ability, including, channeling your fire breath for the entire time, you are on 4-second cooldown. And if the objective comes up in 8 seconds and you want to be there, you need to only have 4 seconds more of activity before you stop. Full stop, no auto attacks, don't take any damage, don't go get that orb, baby. Like, just back up and get in that rhythm. And then once you're in the air, you're in there for 8 seconds. And without something like Skyfall, which I think is, really cool for interrupting objectives, but honestly, I think it's really popular just because it's kind of boring in space. You're just staring at everyone for 8 seconds longer if your health is awful. And then you finally get to join. So the talents that, reduce your cooldowns when you land so you can be aggressive really fast are really seductive, like Death Drop. But popularity-wise, everyone's doing Skyfall, I think, just because it's something to do while you're up there.
It is, but also, if it's a channel-based battleground, which there are plenty of in this game, you can actually interact. Like, I want to defend it a little bit, because it is
totally.
It's kind of baller, man. Like Cursed Hollow, ooh, wonderful. Towers of Doom, cool. Just delay for days.
And you are tied to sight really hard. Like, this is your almost full landing pad needs to fit. If there is a waning sight moving away from the enemy team, you're not going to surprise jump them. You have to have that friend on top of the enemy team for you to be on top of them. And those lessons combined can leave you in the air for an extra, if you mess up your health, you're up there for an extra 30 seconds. But if you were just trying to participate, even with Skyfall, you're going to be up there for 12 good seconds in a MOBA, and you just gave your team a 4v5 because you couldn't find a good landing spot.
Yeah, which makes him very, I think, interesting. I think it's why I like him on something like a Cursed Hollow. We're going to kind of be rotating anyway, and maybe he can pre-fly to kind of join the party. Whereas something like a Braxis, usually by the time you realize that, oh, we could totally swing this if I popped top real quick. Well, you're not going real quick.
Yeah, you've also got the Alarak kind of trait where you deal less damage to non-heroes. So I, too, have landed behind a Zerg wave and been like, here we go. Cataclysmed across it, and like 16, yeah. Nothing happened.
No, it's not. It's nothing fancy. I felt the same way in my AI games trying Deathwing when I'm like, ooh, I'm on a wall. Bye-bye wall. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's a... I have to imagine this was really sweated over internally, right? Because this is Deathwing. Yeah. What is he known for? Destroying like structures in the world. But I have to imagine that at some point they probably had him doing full damage and it was just busted.
No, there are so many different knobs they can turn. And we learned about this back in the Zeratul days, but increasing his animations, none of those are so drastic that if they went faster, he would look bad. He's actually moving quite slow. They can change that percent if they want to mess with him. Lots of people are saying I would trade a lot of damage to just do things faster, to land sooner. Right now, I think it gives him a really interesting place in the global. He's not Dahaka, who is delayed. He's not Falstad, who gets to do everything to the last moment. He's not Brightwing on an ally. He's his own thing. And I think he's a really awesome fantasy, and I'm really happy with what they did with him.
Yeah, I am too. I think he's gonna find a place. I think he's gonna when the mania, the Deathwing mania finally falls off. I think we're gonna find that he's a very map dependent hero, more so than
Right,
anything
and-
else. That I don't think he is an anti-stun counter draft. I think he's a map pick.
I think too that, that's a great point. We were talking about maybe like, oh, they drafted too many CCs, but it's also going to be a bit of a murky situation. There are people who love the fantasy so much, they will learn to main him and they will figure out very cool things that I look forward to seeing.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll keep an eye on good old Mr. Deathwing here and see how he fares. But let's talk about the other half of the massive changes that came to the game this week with the XP orbs. They are here. Our first Nexus anomaly has landed, also with a rather lengthy blog post on the official Heroes of the Storm website that reads like something that wasn't on the actual Heroes of the Storm website.
How do you mean?
It's like written like an interview on literally any website but the website for the game by the people who made it.
That's true.
This reads like a Kotaku or a Polygon or a GamesBeat or like take your pick, man. I don't know what website you like reading because that's what this reads like. This does not read like a blog from an official game site.
It didn't make me click through multiple times to see the images, though.
Well, I immediately closed out of anything that is one of those.
Those are awful, but Google always suggests them to me.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently this was like, according to the blog post, 9 months in the making. Like 9 months of tweaking how they wanted to change up the XP game, and XP orbs are what they landed on. And this whole blog reads of confidence. Really, like it hammers the point home that if these, not even worst case scenario, because in our interview they said they would pull it even sooner if things didn't work. That when they say it's only here for when they say a Nexus anomaly is only here for a season, they're not married to that. They are open to removing it sooner than that if it really does cause issues. And they reiterate the kind of semi-permanent nature of them in this blog post, saying, hey, the entire intention is to introduce this for a season, and if it works, and they also say if the community is happy with it, it's going to stay around. That being said, this article goes on to say that they think they nailed it with this in more or less.
You know what's kind of interesting about it is that the interview nature that you brought up, hadn't really thought about it, makes Alex Naiman the guy and the head of this particular project with the XP balancing. But we talked last week with Zane Hyde about how this game kind of needs an ice frog. We kind of need a person of vision to show us the future. And whenever anyone gets uppity, has the mental fortitude to be like, well, you're wrong. I'm the designer of the game. And this is kind of a step in that direction. And I like it. And I hope Alex can uphold that side of this exchange. Because if he can tell people off with confidence, we can move forward. We can say how we want to change this, not how we want to revert it. And that's where I'd like to go. Right now, with Deathwing, I'm just flame blasting an entire lane. The enemy runs out of the lane. I go walk over and get both orbs if I want them. On my other heroes, I'm doing bruisers. I'm doing Orioles. I'm in Diamond 1. My tanks go collect the orbs if we're in a 4-man. There has not been a huge impact on this particular change unless I'm losing as a ranged solo laner. And we talked about Zagar earlier. We kind of harped on her. But you can just get zoned out. It's kind of both sides, though, right? Like, at the same time, when I go flying in Deathwing and I see a pile of XP hitting a wall, I land and I get that XP. It doesn't just evaporate as it hits the towers. It gives me some recovery time. Lunar froze a lane against me, though. And I delivered the XP to her. In a previous system, I would have maybe ground that down a little bit on the towers before she showed up. But she showed up, collected the XP late, and then pushed me back very aggressively with her range. So we enter a world where zoning and freezing is starting to seem like the correct thing again.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my take on it. I think that's definitely the case because, and this was the thing about this, the blog post on the official website that like literally made me like troll, like laugh out loud. Like, you're kidding me, right? Because they mention a generous pickup radius for these XP orbs, which I think is the most disingenuous statement of the year. Like, the radius for these orbs is tiny, and it is oppressive if you do not have a lot of health.
I mean, compared to a regen orb, though, it is generous. But the regen orb is instant.
You're talking about something that has no radius, essentially. So, yeah, sure. To a factor of no radius whatsoever, yes, it's generous.
Right. The McDonald's by my house is generous, but I'd rather go to Chick-fil-A. Whatever. It's fine. The problem is that the leashing is in existence. And I think that's where the feel bad outside of maybe the enemy team is winning harder right now. And those are feelings. I can't confirm that. I just know that when the enemy team is on top of my waves, pushing forward, and in particular my wall and towers are down, I can't access that XP I'm making when I'm trying to zone them out. Like, I'm trying to save my keep, so I'm Kael'thas and I throw forward a flame strike that destroys the lane, hits the enemies. I'm just trying to scare them off, but I'm ruining the XP, and I'm getting further and further behind in the situation. I don't know if that's 100% true. Maybe as Kael'thas, I should just cool my jets and let Sonya come spin on the lane a bit before I go blowing it up. What I do know is, though, that when that is leashing slowly towards me and I fly into the air at Deathwing and I see them just kind of stop, that feels bad.
Yeah, there's some serious clunk that it feels. It feels Hearthstone to me, man. Long, beautiful animations are the bane of my existence in Hearthstone. They're the thing that annoys me more than anything else in that card game. The fact that I don't care what mode you're playing. Congratulations, you have a timed turn. And the fact that I got to wait through these overly elaborate animations every single damn time I play certain cards, it absolutely drives me crazy.
And Magic the Gathering didn't fix that.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Magic the Gathering didn't fix that for you. The cards like have a summon and like the angel comes out, but you can still attack while they're going. So the angel animation sort of like jerks across the screen.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna, you know what, Magic, your animations ain't that pretty. You can just stop now. You can just stop now. It is the most base ass looking. You look like your animations look like a knockoff of your own game.
Yeah, I kind of like. There's this old game that got abandoned. What was it? Star Drive. I kind of like someone drew me and I animated it. It's like kind of like a paper craft sort of thing going on. Like, I kind of dig it. It's a cool style, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're getting me off. The point is the momentum. It has momentum. I don't want it to have momentum. It's magic. I'm absorbing magic bullshit. Why does it have momentum? it really annoys me. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things. Some folks in chat room are saying they don't think they last long enough. I think that's possibly true. They don't blink before they disappear. They just disappear. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. I don't think I've ever hated something in this game so much in my life than the fact that these XP orbs don't blink before they disappear. And I can't even tell you why, Kyle. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's unacceptable. It's the worst thing. This is an entirely personal thing. Like, it just, when I'm booking it full bore on my mount, I'm like, I'm going to get it. And they just go bloop. I want to just throw my monitor off my desk. There's something about it where it fills me with the biggest amount of anxiety I ever could have. And I just find it strange that it doesn't do that, because it's a language we've been taught to understand in this game.
Right, but the regen orbs go neutral, and that definitely causes an expediency from a league that's paying attention.
Well, they also start to blink and fade.
That's true, but go away. I mean, ideally, it doesn't even reach that phase. When I see a neutral, that's when I kind of get wild, and we don't have any sort of thing along the way there. And I do think that allowing the leash to maybe be faster, not cancel, and simply not despawn on the way to you would just be a good way to make this feel better.
Yeah, I think the rule set should be so much that if like you were ever close enough to gather this, you should be guaranteed to gather it.
And I'm sure they thought about it. Like there has to be some sort of tomfoolery that someone on the dev team pulled, maybe on like Pale Horse Moutheel, where he sort of rode by a lane over and over again, never dismounting, collecting the orbs and doing a double soak that way. Who knows what sort of thing caused this choice? And I believe it is a choice. I'm mainly concerned about the situation that I just talked about with Kael'thas, where some of the funnest moments I have in this game personally is a tower defense, protect the keep, whatever Warcraft 3 custom game you enjoyed playing of that style was. I love defending. I don't mind losing when I'm feeling like I'm holding the line. I just don't want to fall so far behind when I'm doing what's fun.
Right. Like you said, maybe I should have waited for the Sonya. Well, you might be too late by that, man. Like that might be the difference between a keep or no keep, right? Like still having a keep or letting it go down, depending on how far away whoever the help is. And that's where, that's where it starts to it starts getting abrasive for me in how am I going to play this game fashion. The momentum of them moving towards you is its whole other thing. But when I've always liked Heroes of the Storm, because for the most part doing the action that just made the most sense has more or less been right. And freezing lanes was a next tier up strat, but a lot of leagues didn't do that anyway, and it was okay. But again, like, this has been my concern since its announcement, and it hasn't gone away now that it's in the game. Is like, I'm using your example. I'm defending as Kael'thas. Well, now I'm more behind because I just lost all that XP. I wanted to keep my keep, and I lost all the XP because the enemy team was there, and I can't move up to get the XP. Because also, your structures don't do enough damage, in my opinion. Still.
Yeah.
Like maybe
that's true, but if they did more damage, then be creating XP faster. So would we like that as well? Who knows what other anomalies might tack on top of this? I mean, they said they were working on it for 9 months. There are a lot of facets of this, a lot of switches I'm sure they can throw to add other elements on top of it. Right now, we're focused on the visual exchange. And I've heard from bronze and silver players that it is working, that there's even chats where people go, wait, what was that? I'm sorry, what'd I miss? Did I need to get those things? And the fact that it's causing questions, and that's what we've talked about in the past, all you got to do is spark people's interest, and then they go learning.
Yes. Yeah. Which is, So, I don't know. We still have questions. Just certain things that just seem kind of wonky to me. Like, I'm not against the concept as a whole, but my brain is already firing off with ways I would like to see this tweaked. And the one is the momentum. Murder the momentum, Kyle. Murder it. Go away.
Give me the XP that I received. I don't outdistance Diablo souls.
Right. Please and thank you. So, anyway, in the blog post itself, there were some interesting things. Senior game designer Alex Naiman cited internal statistics about split push or sideline heroes tending to have a higher than average win rate because their mechanics encourage what he calls macro gameplay. So sounds like that kind of influenced this quite a bit. And I love anytime we hear about internal statistics because they're working with, perfect stats, I would assume, seeing as it's their game. Please make an API. I am now more biased towards that desire than ever before.
Wonder why.
Yes. Hot's API. Anyways, I don't really know, Kyle. I kind of ran out of steam on this one. I'm not sure. If I got anything left on the orb front. It's kind of it's a big old, not a wait and see. This is a big old wait and learn. And do I like the lessons, I guess, or do I like the answers once I've learned them? Is really where I'm at right now.
And the only weird thing in High League, because I'm talking about like, we've adapted so well. We haven't updated to Jaina Falstad Nazebo. And there's a lot of Nazebo players first picking because Nazebo is all fun with now his increased range and his sweet level 1 talent. They're not bringing home the XP bacon at all anymore. And we need to adapt to that. Maybe we don't even have the Sonya to spin on the Kael'thas Flame Strike because we're not used to having a Sonya. We've been doing it with Falstad and Jaina and the like. Zools don't bring home the XP bacon either. So it's a really tough change in the losing department. Zool gets all his XP when he's winning, though. So I'm curious. I'm really hoping dev team, particularly our man here, King Naaman. All right? I'll come up with a better name for you later, but I want you to be elevated to Ice Frog status here. That's your real name, though. You know, people will hate on you. Change your name. Like, go dark, come back as something else. You know,
go
Batman
dark and come back.
Yeah, like you know, you got to be greater than a man in order to be this sort of thing.
You need a symbol.
You need a symbol, yes. So what scared you as a child, Naaman? Become that. For me, it was the Gozer dogs and Ghostbusters. They were horrifying. So, you know, I named myself Gozer if that was the case.
Maybe it was maybe it was instant momentum. Maybe that's what scared him.
Maybe.
I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke.
Momentum man, like whatever it is that keeps you down. I was also terrified of Yoda because he disappeared and I always thought he was going to jump out at me at like night or something.
Oh, that is that's so delightful. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. I love it.
Dude, he's gone.
Like, but Obi-Wan didn't scare you? Why Yoda specifically?
You don't understand death as a kid, but you know Yoda disappeared. And in that second movie, he's like, and like jumps out at Luke and scared the crap out of me. So all of a sudden, Yoda's gone. And I'd have no idea where he went. And he could be in my bed or under it or in the closet.
Oh, God, that's so good. Oh, that's so good, man. Oh, I look forward to our post-show conversation about Mandalorian, by the way.
Yes, let's do that. It was a spoiler alert post-show Mandalorian talk.
Mandalorian talk. All right, cool. Well, let's move on from the Globes then, and talk about what you wanted to talk about, which is kind of what some people are citing as oddly missing things in this update, and it's okay. At least one of the things are okay. Toy event is not meant to start yet. It's starting on December 16th. That's why it's not here yet, because it's not meant to be here yet.
It's called Toys 2. We are getting new skins, but we don't know if the board's going to change. And I think a lot of people are looking at a Toys 2 event without sort of the Nexomania Suns Out, Guns Out switchover and saying, whoa, Toys 2, is this cadence? Is this? So there's a lot of weight rolling with the toy event here and whether it's going to be different enough to satisfy people's investment in the game.
I kind of wish they kept reusing their events because I like the themes a lot and I would just like to see them expand upon them.
Yeah, like it's called Toys 2, so expand. Like
I'm kind of excited about this. Is what I'm saying, because I really wish they went back to Suns Out, Guns Out. I wish they went back to Nexomania, because I think they were really strong concepts and they were really fun from a art direction point of view of taking these characters that we know and love and putting them in these kind of ridiculous costumes and scenarios. So yeah, please, for the love of God, dude, Nexomania 2. It'd be great. So it's wrestling. You could change the venue every time. It could be Nexomania in Ice Crown or Nexomania in Sanctuary. I guess I should have said something more specific, because Sanctuary is kind of all of it, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah. We know it's easiest to change things in game. Like, what about when it started just, little sparklers going up, around the core?
Yeah. Yeah, and then that core becomes Cthulhu because I want a core replacement hero.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Nexomania. That's
being ridiculous.
That's your wish list.
I'm being ridiculous, Kyle. Yeah. But also, there's no the mount reward for 50 Storm League wins is not in the game yet,
and we don't know if it's coming. We don't know.
Well, it has to be coming, right? Because there was a counter to 50.
The counter to 50 was to receive rewards, and you got a portrait and your gold for playing based on where you placed.
Oh, did they never confirm that amount was coming?
Never confirmed, no.
Scandalous.
Right. Scandalous. Like, we enjoy a nice little bonfire and going, that's kind of scandalous. That warms me up. But so I don't want to pour gasoline on a nice, relaxing, like family side fire. I don't want it to burn the house down. So I'm a little nervous to talk about this, but some people play games in a style where they see a reward and they grind. And the grind is not fun for them, but they do it because the reward is there. And all their efforts are focused on that. I completed my 50 wins because I love heroes. Would I love it if they gave me a chance to like pick one of the ones you missed? I really want the Masters League, Raptor. That'd be nice to have. I'd be happy with that. But honestly, I'm from a whole different era. I'm from the world of we have no matchmakers when I grew up. The StarCraft game client called my family landline, and I yelled, "Don't pick up," so that it could, queue into the computer and I could play with my friend. Like, I don't understand playing for achievements. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go even further. I sometimes hate achievements. I hated when I beat God's butts in God of War, and it was like, pun, ha, the screen's dark, subjected to my PS3 pun, ha ha. It's like, shut up. I just did something awesome, and you're throwing a pun in my face? Well, they only happen the first time you play the game. The first time's the most important time. Don't belittle my awesome God-slaying abilities with a pun. Get ahead. Like, oh no, I decapitate. Get ahead. Ha ha ha. Like, geez. I hate achievements, man.
I wish you hadn't gotten into the achievement rant because I was going to hit you with a Pepperidge Farm remembers with your old man. Back in my day, we didn't have matchmaking. And dude, I think I grew like 20 new gray hairs while listening to that. That was wonderful. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, that's my.
No, I'm
my
with you, dude.
rant.
I am absolutely with you. It's just, it doesn't matter. We understand the psychology of gaming communities because we have been cursed to cover them for the last decade of our lives. Like, it doesn't matter. It was there at one point and it will be taken away. And as rational as you and I can be, because I'm with you. Like, are you just grinding for the mount? Really? Really? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? If that's the only reason you're playing this game, that makes no sense to me. Go play quick match. You could play whatever hero you want every single time, locked in, no fighting. Why are you grinding hero? Like, if you hated the grind, I'm not sure why you did it. Why? So you could grind next month with a new shiny mount, I guess, and do the thing you hate all over again. I don't get it. Okay. That's why I get so mad about the flying grind in World of Warcraft, because I see that as required. Like, I have to have it to make the game more enjoyable.
Well, yeah,
but
that's an issue.
I see this as so very, very different because it's like you don't have to have it. So if you don't enjoy it, why are you doing it?
I'll get on that train with you, the toy train, with your WoW flying, because that's Crash Lightning. Crash Lightning for Thrall, when you complete the quest, prioritizes heroes. But the whole time you're getting that quest done, you wish it prioritized heroes so you could get your damn quest done and stop farting off on lane minions and towers and infernal shrines skeletons. So the reward is the thing that you wanted to get there in the first place. And that's why flying sucks in WoW, because it's like, you did it, but you could have done it quicker if you had the reward already. I get that, why that's the wall, but like, give the reward first and then give me something else. But now we're talking about give me things, so maybe this isn't the right place to have that conversation. Right.
It was just a minor, tangentially related thing about why I feel the way I do and the kind of philosophy behind what grinds annoy me and what grinds don't. Because I see that as an opt-in. Like, yeah, I think the way you're doing it is the correct way to do it. You're doing it because you just want to play games, and you got there. Cool. Awesome. Great. If you don't like Storm League, is it worth it? Like, well,
I mean, you're also in there being grumpy with all the other people who might be playing it to enjoy it. So like, you're bringing the house down by being in there grinding, not enjoying your save. There is one more, let's call it, a Yule log of drama that we'll put on the fire, and we'll go, that's kind of nice. Actually, I think we maybe got a little excited. This is more of a backyard fire done by teenagers at the moment. But they increased the price of Deathwing. He is 20,000 gold, and his gem price went up. Normal hero 750, Deathwing 1,000. So we don't know about a mount, and prices went up on heroes, perhaps for all heroes in this foreseeable future. Maybe Deathwing is special. We do need, some sort of dialogue to be had to let us know what the future is going to look like. It doesn't bother me because I'm sitting on gold. I've got gold for days. I play. But other people coming in, they don't have gold for days.
No, they don't.
Man,
I went to BlizzCon, so I got Deathwing for free.
Right, for free, the virtual ticket. Yeah, whatever.
Let me explain to you how much it costs to go to BlizzCon. But yeah, it's that is eyebrow raising for sure. I'm not going to defend that one. But also, I don't know, prices of things. It's 100% at the time, as Blizzard is concerned, not the jobs of the people who actually talk to us.
Right.
I think there's a reason that the finance department doesn't do an AMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, again, like finance department, they need their own Batman. So we're just anonymity for all, but with symbols,
No, they don't. They need to probably conduct business as they have, which is never actually talking out in public, because we wouldn't like the answers.
No,
we would not like the answers, Kyle.
No, I watched Lost World the other night, and gas was 139 in San Francisco. Wait, no, it was San Diego. But the T-Rex is running around, and a tank of gas, gallon of gas, was $1.39.
Yeah. Well, Scoop makes a really good point in the chat room that if hero release rates are slowing down, inflating the amount of gold it costs for new heroes is also an economic move for the game's economy.
I agree.
Hadn't thought about it that way.
Gems. They increase gems, though. So gold, like that's your free currency.
Arguably still economic for the money the game makes.
Right. And if you aren't selling as things as often, you need to charge more for the things that you're making. I mean, Kodak tried to make printers. I'm
going to have a really unpopular, what I think is an unpopular opinion, and say I am all for it as long as they keep making new heroes. I will gladly pump a few more dollars into this game as long as it gets me active development. So, yeah.
Fair.
Yep. Get rid of gems, please. Just get rid of gems. Let's go back to dollar values on all the things, because Kyle, I definitely dropped over $1,000 on like skins and mounts pre 2.0. And I liked 2.0. I liked 2.0 a lot. I thought it was really cool. We were getting more color variations. The emojis I still love. They're one of my favorite things, like favorite random bits ever added to any Blizzard game ever. They're so low impact and yet bring me so much joy. Like, I don't think anything has ever had such a small impact on a game, which is to say basically none, on how you actually play the game, and yet bring me so much joy and make me smile so much as freaking Heroes emojis. I want them in all the other Blizzard games.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, low impact, I'm going to fight you there, because you can go into the Battle.net launcher and grab, like, what is this? Like, just a bunch of random bummer Apple emojis? Like, who needs these? And then I get into World of Warcraft and I want to give someone an orcish fist bump, and I can't do it. Like, just like make that the lock, Like, everyone's like, oh, how can we expand the player base? Like, make people come over here for our sweet emojis.
Unlock emojis from Heroes of the Storm.
Right, exactly. Big letters across like BlizzCon. Now unlock emojis. And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't smile as Thrall unless I go play some Heroes of the Storm. Sorry, I'm missing Raiden tonight, guys.
Oh, that would get made so much fun of, but I would be all for it. Whatever they want to make me do to get those emojis in all the other Blizzard games, bring it on. Absolutely.
Please do it.
So, but yeah, just bring dollar amounts back, please, for the love of God, because I think I've purchased gems twice since 2.0.
It made the game more festive. Everyone was more colorful. Mounts, everyone, like so many base skins. Everyone was in their master skin, but I spent a lot of real money too. And 2.0, I think I bought one gem package because I got behind on heroes at one point. Yeah. I ran out of gold.
I think I did it twice because there was like one skin I absolutely had to have, but I made so many impulse buys, dude. Yeah. It was just a candy counter at the checkout every single freaking time I went into Heroes of the Storm when it was just a real money store.
Oh, yeah. And I like, that was like beer money kind of thing, too. Like, you go online and, Turk for it or whatever. You're like, I'm going to buy Infested Tychus. Like, I'm going to go fill out surveys tonight. Like, this is mine.
Yep. Absolutely. So anyway, sorry, sub thought there. We'll probably talk more about it as we wind down the year, but there was an AMA today, Kyle. Like this day, as recording it, which means I'm going to be reacting to a lot of this stuff in real time.
That's fair,
because it was filling out. And heck, the comment we're going to be leading off with was right before the show went live, and that's about the subject of freezing lanes from a Redditor that is not a big fan of the entire concept. AZ Jackson got in there and wanted to talk about it and really dug deep, but kind of wanted to start it with, hey, a lot of this is my point of view and not necessarily those of everyone on the team. So you don't take what AZ Jackson is saying as like carved in stone, but
Jackson, damn it. You got to get out there, man. You got to kick butt. You got to own it.
At a certain point, yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah.
That's a good name, though, by the way. Like, that is great for Spider-Manning. Jackson. Damn it, Jackson.
Damn it, Jackson. Anyways, he said that I think lane manipulation is and always has been a part of our game, particularly at the higher levels. There are micro instances where it's a good idea to let enemy minions hit in front of your tower to make the waves crash near your tower in order to gain advantages like enabling a gank by a nearby teammate or to soak safely in a bad matchup. Yes. I mean, it's not wrong.
We didn't call that freezing. We called that like baiting or just like, body language, but yes, you're correct.
Yes. Jackson went on to say, I don't believe that being encouraged to freeze a lane is ever let me say that again, not mess it up. I don't believe that being encouraged to freeze a lane ever is a terrible thing for the game. However, I do believe that if this is happening all the time at all stages of the game, that it is a problem, largely due to encouraging too much passive play when we want our game to be about aggression. I've never played as passively in the entire history of Heroes of the Storm as I have this past week. Finally, in our experience, he said, the experience globes haven't universally motivated passive play. In general, they have motivated more aggressive play and more interesting combat as both sides are trying to get a better position so that they can collect the experience globes for themselves. I disagree with this, at least out the gate. Because I feel like if you're playing more aggressively, it feels like you're playing wrong. Because you're just going to die.
Depending on your hero. So that's, if he's talking about, and I think he's a little ahead of us, if we are assuming that the meta is pushing towards solo lane warriors, bruisers, even a tank up there like ETC, he can just completely destroy my 1v1 thrall. That's disgusting, but it's a reality and I hate it. But, that's okay. Because those are the heroes that should be doing that. And if he is already removing from his mind the Falstads and Janas, then I'm there with him.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, again, though, why are you getting aggressive? You don't have to. You could just play safely and guarantee you get the XP and stay alive. So it doesn't even matter. Like, yeah, I'm playing aggressively on Sonya, but that's because I'm just bullying everyone constantly right now in game. I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm getting away with it, and that's why I'm doing it.
Well, and your hero has a place with this new meta, so that's healthy. What you've just said. And we talked about leashing. Like, if I was Thrall and I used Wind Fury to go to run in a big like C curve out to get in range of the XP orbs, and then turned around and ran back the other way with increased movement speed, maybe that's why leashing is in there. And I think he's talking with way more philosophy and design effort than we're aware of. And that's why I agree with his number 3. Will the player base adapt, though? And 2 is a little weird as well, because he's saying it's not terrible for the game unless it's happening at all levels of play, but levels of play are so different that in this particular case, when it's the right choice for the people who will make those educated choices, it is still a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm just kind of perplexed because it's a lot of the talk about the orbs. I just kind of feel like they're all over the place. It's like, well, is freezing okay or is it not? So I don't know.
Gotta live with it.
It's a cake and eat it too way. Like, I feel like the blog post and also this comment rides the line on both sides and doesn't really plant a flag.
Yeah. We'll see. If the draft adapts and becomes interesting, that's where everything works out. And that's going to take time. I'm happy to give that time.
Yeah. Interesting thoughts. Also seen people just, and hopefully this doesn't stick, but it's folks pushing way deeper than they need to. Whereas, before, it wouldn't matter. We were losing the XP before, and I think we should be okay with losing the XP now if a lane is pushed out. But game again, I've been seeing people push out way further. It's like, oh, I need to get the orbs. I need to get the orbs from the minions. And it's just like, well, no, you shouldn't be there. You're going to die horribly.
That's an interesting thought, because there you're talking about sort of a spiral effect that's happening. Not only do you do the fun thing, which is clear the lane, because it's there to beat it up, and then they die and they're fantastic and the animations are fun and minions fly everywhere. And then the next lane comes in, but it's pushed further. And because you just had fun collecting that XP, you're seduced forward, and you're seduced forward until you are, let's say the fort is gone, you're on their half of the map deep, and you die over and over again, which I did see as well, in my own league. So it is a seductive force.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm interested in. One of the comments we mentioned, or that Jackson mentioned here that we didn't include, was kind of talking about how, with proper rotations and roaming, like, it shouldn't really be an issue. But at the same time, that's another abstract concept. Yeah. And you could probably make the argument that the visual of the orbs, and if you put two and two together, that, when we roam together, we get more orbs, cool, so yada, yada, yada. But still, it's another abstract concept. So we've made one concept less abstract, but there's, I don't know, I think in a certain way it kind of brings new abstract concepts to the forefront.
I think you hit on something today. If I had to make a change right now, it would be that the towers, forts, have to clear the lane faster, because my reward for pushing hard when I know someone's not there is that they won't show up and get that XP. But because of the 6 seconds, because it's on their wall and they have access to it, and because the towers are rather slow at clearing, I do not get that reward. Ammo was once the reward. That's why people want it. I don't fully agree with ammo. It got silly. But now we need that new piece of the puzzle. We have to hit the wall and have something bad happen because we are so awesome at pushing.
It's been on my mind, and I don't know. It's not my job. It's just my job. I just make suggestions. I don't know how hard it is to make happen or whatever, but it's something that's on my mind, because I think it could have a spillover effect into also helping with your Kael'thas problem. Because if they're also hitting heroes a little bit harder, I don't know. I really feel like, I don't care what hero you are, if a wave just crashed into your fort, you should feel safe enough to step up and get the XP. That's kind of my final thought on the matter. So, tie a bow on it. Let's get into other stuff from the AMA. Exposing official win rates. Milker fielded this one, saying that we've been talking about a data API for heroes for years, and at times have even made strides on bringing it to you. Unfortunately, those initiatives hit hurdles with everything from data compliance complexities, GDPR has been fun, to prioritization against other game features, and have lost steam over the years. In the absence of the actual API, we've been discussing exposing official win rates and stats alongside updates that are more balanced and gameplay centric, and that is something I'd still be open to exploring if you think it gives you a portion of what you're looking for. This is interesting, because this almost sounds like it's going to be pick and choosy, like they're going to like pluck a Rexar stat or pluck a Diablo stat, as opposed to just constantly in real time updated statistics for all the things, which I would say is unhelpful.
Yes, it's interesting. We've certainly had our roundabouts and people very passionate about what GDPR means and all that sort of thing, and the data protection. If they just gave us a big list of here is the win rates for the week in a weekly blog post, that seems to be okay. And that's what I read here. It's something that just kind of gets populated, not a system that is actively chugging in the background, processing data. They export.
Yes, exactly. And with the issues that have recently come to light about profitability for a service like HOTS API, like something, the whole state of it seems rocky. And I see somebody's trying to fix hot slugs right now. Not me specifically, the team, but it's I obviously I would so very, very, very much love an API from Heroes, but God, this just seems like the death knell of any hope of that, is how I'm kind of taking this comment. And I don't think that just kind of at times deciding what statistics to make public would be all that helpful. I really get excited when they do it, but it's because they so seldomly do it. But like if every now and then you just get a random 5 or 10 heroes, like how helpful is that? It's randomly helpful to a random section of the player base.
Right, and this is KO Milker talking. In another part of the thread, they mentioned how they don't want to share that information because it can be construed however you want it. Or so like Illidan, they post overall win rates and Illidan's bottom tier and everyone reads it and everyone gets pissed off at every Illidan on the planet. But Illidan's on Cursed Hollow are fine, but we don't have that access.
I mean, that's fine, but we're already looking at that and it's incomplete information. So you could either give us accurate, like complete information or let us have the exact same reactions to just a slice of the statistical pie. And so I definitely fall firmly on the side of just give us the information. I don't, but it really sounds like from Milker's comments here that it wasn't a choice by them. It kind of seems like it was just too difficult to make happen.
Right. And if they wanted to, make their own HOTS logs, they can't because laws are always messing with that sort of thing. And when the team is already strapped for resources, you can't go have your work canceled out.
Well, that's okay, man. Literally everyone commenting on Reddit is a GDPR lawyer.
Well, you might enjoy the threads of everyone calling him dumb for not understanding how that law works because, at any rate, I won't bring that up enough. But
yeah. By the way,
what he's saying here. Go for it. Okay, go for it.
Oh, what you don't get it. everyone, because I was in the firing. I was in the crosshairs for GDPR when we informed everyone when we took over HOTS logs that data had to be. We were not given the data from the previous owners because of GDPR. Everyone was like, "Oh!" I literally had someone say, "Garrett's the idiot who purged all the HOTS logs data because he didn't understand how GDPR worked." And to that I say, first of all, you don't get how GDPR worked. And even if you did, and even if I did or didn't, it's irrelevant. Previous owners had the data and didn't give it to us. That's how it works. So it doesn't matter. So, yeah. Enjoy.
But what KO Milker is saying here is that alongside balance updates and gameplay-centric blogs, we would get data. So when they say Diablo's getting nerfed, we would receive his win rate. So we're not going to get an export here, but he's saying that he might work to give us win rates when they balance. And I like that idea a lot. I would love to see the data on, nicely formatted right there by the talent, why that talent's getting incentivized. It would certainly save us a lot of work, but I still do the work, guys. If you don't want to, I'll still go over to other websites and visit. But if you want to make it nice and wholesome and there for us, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This is one I feel for them because I kind of feel like they would like to give us this information, but it's just a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
No. Deathwing release skin is coming next year. Keenan Brew fielded this one and said that the skin was just not ready for this year, but that they do have something very cool planned for Deathwing. Quote, "This is what I'm personally working on at the moment. Please accept the Destroyer Brightwing skin in the meantime as a peace offering." I cannot tell you, Kyle, how much I love the Brightwing skin.
It's nice. They match too, so you get some cuteness.
It's having a bad effect in that every time I look at regular Brightwing, I'm like, oh my God, you need a reskin. You need a reskin so bad, Brightwing. I'm sorry. You look like you woke up on the wrong side of the bed for like a year straight. Like,
well, while we're blaming Reddit, let's blame them for that one too. They ruined the update. They know what they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Because all people everyone commenting on Reddit is the same person.
That's what we've learned. Yeah, exactly.
It's such a good skin. It's so good. I can't get over how good the Brightwing Deathwing skin is. I love her. She's got chonky arms. Like
I love the way she lands during the queue up.
Yeah, click back and forth between the Deathwing Brightwing and regular Brightwing and just see just how hefty, like what a model change it is. It's
you're a wormling. It's great.
Wonderful. Just freaking wonderful. You guys killed it. Anyone who put a hand on Deathwing Brightwing, I just want to hug you. I love it so much. Love it so much, Kyle.
Happy to hear it, man.
Makes me so happy. Then they talked about how balancing has changed. AZ Jackson was back for this one and said that this has been a change from how we used to do things. We didn't really used to do this due to the fear of making something incredibly unbalanced, but nowadays we have more embraced the view that it's better to create more exciting changes to the game than to never try. And if we mess them up, then we will fix them down the road. So far, this has worked very well, as we haven't had any huge blowouts due to changes in balance patches over the last year. I very much agree with this statement. I think 2019 has been a pretty damn successful year for Heroes of the Storm in that regard. I've been pretty happy with it.
I really like it, and particularly the philosophy about 20s. Just having the game end, having things get wild when you hit that power spike has been really solid.
Yeah. I'm probably biased in this regards, because if anyone's like a longtime Angry Chicken listener, you've had to listen to me for years, basically yelling at my microphone, just try something, anything, take a risk for the love of God. And they finally have this year. 2019 has been great for that game in that regard. So that's kind of, as someone who is not a pro player in any game I've ever covered, I've always just wanted just more changes. Just give it a shot, see where it lands, and adjust accordingly. So been happy with it. Very happy with it. And then also they said Alpha Heroes allowed for hero changes mid-game. And Jackson talked about this, saying, my favorite was when we had the hero buyback system. This was way back in the day, pre-alpha, when we had gold before the talent system that we have today. So not gold to buy heroes, but like gold to buy things, like to level up your character in a game of heroes. Basically, you could spend a relatively small amount of gold, and at any time during the game, you could completely switch your hero. I'm so glad they didn't go with this.
Yeah, that's messy.
Yeah. Jackson said entire metas were based around this, where, for example, you could play as the Garrett in the beginning stages of the game to bully your opponent, then switch to Vala or Zeratul midway through for a power spike. Then in the end game, go to someone tanky like Arthas for the few final team fights. Entire metas were developed around this, and we actually had it in for a long time. It was wild. Oh, boy.
Yeah, a bit different of a game, and particularly on one that works on so much information, it would have been a very different game. There is a Dota mode where whenever you die, you change to a random hero, but that's like ARAM levels of just for funsies.
Yeah, it's a brawl essentially. Like for me, one of the biggest turnoffs of Overwatch has always been the fact that you can switch heroes. I wish you were locked in. I wanted it to be a much more like committed comp-based shooter, and that's just not what it ended up being. So yeah, I mean, obviously personal preference type thing, right? But I am so happy this is not what the game is.
Yeah, cool to hear about though. Cool to imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to try to play it, because that sounds crazy. Like I want to play it. I don't want it to be the main game. No,
I'd give it an ARAM, sure, but no thanks.
Basically. And so, so those are the highlights from the AMA. We've got links in the show notes to the AMA in full. It's on the Reddit like literally right now. So if you're listening to this in the week it comes out, it shouldn't be too hard for you to find. But some tidbits that came out of it were that there's a distant future update to Tracer. So.
Eventually.
Not too distant, like specifically distant. Arthas could take up to 20 weeks to rebuild, so not happening.
Again,
can we just
reaffirming that Arthas is not happening, but
can we just
there it is.
Get rid of his stutter step when he casts things, please? Can we at least get rid of that? Thank you.
That'd be a balance thing. I'm for it.
Please, thanks. KO Milker is going to see if he can get more cross-game promotions. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Blog post on the state of AI is incoming. I am not the target audience for this.
No, me neither. And thankfully, I don't have to deal with AIs very often, but they are not great. And if that is your preferred game mode, look forward to the blog post.
Yeah. Locust removal for Abathur, ? They're thinking about it.
So locusts, of course, burn a lane without Abathur being in the area. They do not soak. Monstrosity is not soaking either, not collecting orbs, which is a bit of an issue.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you can you can hat your monstrosity and then it's collecting, which you then use that to control it. But yes, a monstrosity just going in lane, no orbs there.
I'm offended.
So if you combine that with locusts, revealing your location alongside not collecting orbs, there might be a locust issue. And in general, Abathur is having a bad time with this update. And frankly, I'm very much okay with it because this is just nonstop Abathur. And it was double soak high life, and it was getting stale. It's nice to have a freed up ban, honestly. But I feel for you. I don't think the reason for this change was just to get rid of Abathur, but I understand Abathur players feeling that way. Right.
So, yeah, I am sorry as well. So, anyways, let's wrap the show up with a question, shall we?
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
Really should have got a water today. My goodness. Send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. If you're a patron, you have access to the patron-only Discord, and you can drop us messages directly in there. And that's exactly what Valkamar did very, very recently in the patron Discord and said, a time machine question. If you could go back and teach Kyle/Garrett day one heroes something, what would it be?
I thought about this. And the closest thing I've come up with is MMR inflation. I think I should have just gone wild on Kael'thas while he was broken. And just, made that MMR before they seeded the unranks and the draft that eventually followed. Just the most outrageous thing in the world. Instead, I was enjoying Diablo, who was underpowered on release, tons of Nazebo, who was a really good mage at the time, Tassadar, Asmodan. I was just following my whims with no idea that Quick Match would one day seed my MMR.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been thinking about it too, and I honestly don't know. I've been such a hero-driven player in the grand scheme of things. Like, I can't think of like an overarching tip I would give myself, other than maybe just what I tell myself is just start playing solo lane a lot sooner, because you're going to feel at home and you're going to be good at it. Also, probably to get off Zagara sooner, because I became so reliant on Creep Timber Sight to keep myself safe that I really got out of habit of keeping my eye on the minimap. And that hurt me for a long time, and something I still struggle with to a certain degree. It kind of reared its ugly head all over again with the speed change. Because
that's interesting.
The tempo of like how frequently I look at the minimap, I don't know. It was just something that I got into a natural cadence of when I look at the minimap. And then when the speed change came, like, it took me forever to just get back on top of that. I don't know. And I think I tie all of that back in philosophically to Creep Tumors and Zagara, because I'm just so spoiled. I had so much more vision than I do on any other hero that I play. So probably that. Probably get off Zagara sooner, or at least play other heroes during your Zagara obsession, and double down on solo laning sooner. So just enjoy doing it.
An ETC. It's too late for me, man. I have no confidence on that ETC. ETCs are amazing where I'm at. I missed the boat. I've been trying to get good at him, but I have no confidence on the guy. And that's weird, being a tank main a lot of the time.
Yeah. Mind if I take another chat room question?
Sure.
Yeah, Dagny Stream's been asking for an update on Hot Logs the whole show, and I haven't been ignoring you, Dagny. It's just that we're recording a live podcast, and we don't break topic mid-topic to change the conversation, but we are here in emails / questions, so why not? It's going really well. So the team has more or less gotten HOTS API working for Hot Logs. Needless to say, the announcement from HOTS API about the issue with funding and whatnot is concerning, because we didn't know that, and we spent a lot of time, most of the effort, getting HOTS API to work with HOTS Logs. So we're concerned, but it's working. And we are propagating stats. The site is very, very close Right now, we're mostly. I'm not a developer. I'm mostly just keeping the lights on. So this is going to be as layman's terms as I can put it. We're mostly working on the uploader at this point, because we need to anyway. There's other functionality to the uploader other than just the uploading itself that folks like, that we want to retain. But also, looks like we probably need to be a little more concerned about getting our own replays than we previously were. So, it's just taking so much more time than we could have ever imagined. And there was really no way around it. There was a lot of information that the people that we were in contact with didn't have to give us. It was not malicious. There was not information being withheld maliciously, but it's just the people whose jobs it was to deal with us. They did not have the information. A lot of the folks that, worked on Hot Slogs were just not there anymore. So, right. Yeah, it's been virtual archaeology essentially. So it's been kind of crazy. The team, however, has been just absolutely killing it. Jagged Pixels in the chat room right now, one of our developers. He's just been doing. I've been so freaking impressed with the work that they've been doing. So it's just blowing my mind. So it's like every time we think we're like a week away from launching, something new kind of rears its ugly head. So it's been a whole lot of like massive tidal waves of progress. We're like, oh my God, holy crap, the site's working. We've got stats. Awesome. And then something comes up where we're like, oh wow, okay, well this is gonna just pull the brakes again. And a lot of times it's something small. So yeah, it's really the big thing. And I think what most people who are asking are looking for is me to tell you it is still an active development. Like it has not been put out to pasture. And if the worst happens and that does happen, we will tell you. We will tell you if we're pulling the plug because it just isn't going to work. But I'm pretty damn sure it's going to, because the team has been killing it. So that's your not a coder update on Hot Slogs, everybody.
No, I think you covered it well. I mean, it is, as you said, it's an ongoing process, and every time I certainly hear about it, I was like, oh damn, we're there. But I understand we don't want to take the thing we got to fix and put it up still broken in any regard, because then it would appear to still be broken. Exactly.
And so, and most people who are asking, like, everyone's cool. It's once a week, someone crawls out from under a rock to call me an idiot about GDPR, and it doesn't matter. It wasn't my call to make, even though, again, you are wrong and you don't understand it. But wouldn't matter if you were right. Wasn't my call to make. So, yeah, that please stop, because all you do is piss me off and I add another person to my mute list. So, well, it's, and as you said with the business, right? Like the people who could have told us the information to make this go faster, they're part of a business. They moved on to other websites. The customer service, the coordinator, whoever it was we talked to, they're not designing the website. No. So you have to work that out yourself with your own development team. Right. And they don't deserve your ire, because without them, Hot Slogs wouldn't have found a new home. Don't go yelling at the customer service rep. They didn't make the TV, it's like, I gave them hell at Best Buy. You're like, really? At Best Buy? You were like, you walked into like Nerd Squad and you're like, damn you. Not talking to experts, all I can think of is the Karen memes. That's all I can think of. And I feel bad about the Karen memes, because actually our favorite dog sitter is named Karen. She's the most lovely lady in the world. But you know what I mean? Like, anytime those people pop out, I'm just like, oh, you're the Karen of Reddit. Congratulations. Yelling at the person whose fault it isn't, and the person whose fault it probably is nowhere to be found. So it doesn't matter. It's all irrelevant. It is wasted energy. Place it somewhere else. It's tough to see the connections, I mean, look at bumper stickers. Like, you can support those 7 things at the same time? What the hell? How do you live? How do you exist? Pick a cause. Pick a cause to champion. Right? And even then, sometimes I go, that's what you picked? You could have gone with sick children, and that's what you picked?
Or, they're like, it's like, get off my butt, blah, blah, blah about tailgating me, but they're tailgating the guy in front of them. Or like, hey, and there's so many, you just see them. But I love you because every time I'm in traffic, you at least gave me something to look at. So thank you for bumper stickers.
Wonderful. Yeah, but that's the update. I wouldn't expect like long written updates like we gave when the acquisition first took place, because it's just it just kind of turns into a comment shit show and it's not really helpful for anyone. So everyone's putting their head down and they're working on it. And the next written update will be when it's coming back online. That's when you'll get another official post. So yeah. Anyways, Jack and Pixel, the developer, programmer for Hot Slogs right now in the chat room says, to put it in layman's terms, Hot Slogs is a result of years of coding by the original developer, and it's gone through 2 other owners since then who made their own changes. Trying to figure that out by just reading the code takes quite a while. And that's a really good way to put it.
It's kind of like in a 2-hour movie, most people can't deduce an old diary, but it's a movie, so we're going to speed along.
Exactly. So anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out, and keep your emails coming, itncast@gmail.com. Again, if you're supporting the Patreon, talk to us in the Discord. We're in there all the time. I keep my eye on it. Been a busy week. I've been a little quieter than usual, but I read everything that's posted in there. So thank you, everybody. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. Speaking of our patrons, thank you for the support, everyone. And if you would like to support Into the Nexus, head on over to patreon.com/ITN. Huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, Chris K, and Robert M. Thank you for the support, you four. Also, there's one more producer slot open. If anyone's interested, head on over, check it out, patreon.com/ITN. You can catch us live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. No, not 3 p.m. Eastern. I need to change that in the notes. I just Ron Burgundied myself, Kyle.
It's fine.
It
is fine.
It's all fine. But I just noticed, by the way, let's plan a show right now, live on air. Thursdays didn't fall on any holidays this year, but will you be traveling the day after Christmas?
No, I don't believe so. I'm done with traveling, man. Oh my goodness.
Me too.
Newborn travel? It's wild.
Dude, I don't want to see a plane until April, which is when I'm going to have to get on a plane again.
Yeah, no, let's not travel. Let's make all of our shows. I'm fine with that. Let's do it.
Wonderful. So Into the Nexus will be coming at you the entire month of December, every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, because we lucked out.
Heck yeah.
All the Thursdays fell where they should. Wonderful. May skip the second. That's Katie's birthday. We'll figure something out. But anyway, Kyle, before we go, where can folks find you now that you're moved and one with the standing desk?
Yes, you can find me over at twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and other days when I'm feeling less busy doing dad stuff. But, we're moving still. Boxes are still piled, but the office is online. Was playing yesterday on stream. Standing desk is exhausting, but great. So stand on up over at twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson, and you can find everything I do over at kyleferguson.com, including DM Gives Inspiration, the Dungeons and Dragons DM advice show, because you should be DMing because it's the best role there is. Player's okay. You should be DMing, though. And then Kyle Explains, which is tackling mattresses this week.
I have to ask, how the hell do you choose your topics for that show? Because they seem the farthest apart from linked they could be.
I mean, usually it's like, so we did one week, most decorated animals, like military service animals. Yeah. Because I was looking up active things going on in the world, which then I saw service dogs, and they were talking about like how dogs are being used, which led to them, the sniffing bombs and planes. And then that led to like history. And you're like, oh, look at all these adorable like pigeons that got a bunch of medals. Let's talk about that. So, you just kind of ride the internet rabbit hole, end up somewhere weird. Or like this week, you just move a damn mattress and you're like, why the hell do we have these things? Why aren't we all on inflatables? What the hell is a bed spring?
Have you tried to sleep with another person on an inflatable mattress?
Oh, it sucks.
That's why we're not sleeping on inflatables.
Yeah, dude. But like, I'm curious about why, we used to sleep on like hay or something. Like, what was the deal? You had a bunch of bear rugs that you Conan wrapped your lady in. Like, where'd we come from?
Man, you need to get like, you really need to sync up like single episode sponsors. Because like, if there was ever an episode of a podcast for a mattress sponsor, that was it.
That's true. It's sitting. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's hilarious. Well, awesome. Folks should go check those shows out. Folks, I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. Let's Talk About Star Wars is a show I want to mention right now because it is weekly at the moment because we're talking about The Mandalorian. We've also got The Rise of Skywalker like right around the corner. There's actually too much Star Wars to talk about right now. And one Tom Merritt will actually be in Japan while Rise of Skywalker is out. And so we're trying to figure out how we're going to do that episode. So we'll figure that out. Don't you worry. But yeah, go subscribe to Let's Talk About Star Wars wherever podcasts can be found. And if you are wondering about news about the new World of Warcraft project I'm doing with Taliesin of Taliesin and Evitel, it hasn't been approved yet. But as soon as it is approved, you will hear all about it.
I'm excited about that, man. I didn't know. That's cool. Wait, maybe you told me on like a wind one day.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned to you in passing like 2 months ago that he and I were like poking each other like, hey, you want to do a thing? Yeah, I'd like to do a thing. Are you really busy? Yeah, I'm really busy. Okay, let's wait till we're not really busy. So yeah, we've got a new project. We've actually already recorded the first episode. It has been so long since I've watched a new podcast, Kyle. I completely forgot to like pre-post a 1-minute announcement MP3 to get it pre-approved on iTunes.
Oh,
I messed up.
Yeah.
I messed up. So, but it will be coming to you soon. Should be up within the next week. Justin Robert Young just launched a new show, and it took him longer than usual for his iTunes approval. I don't know what's going on over in iTunes, but podcasts take a lot longer than they used to get approved.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, Spotify's pretty quick. That's what matters. Spotify. I like Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify is quick. Google Play hasn't been approved yet. And I did throw it at Stitcher just to see, like, give it a shot. Give it another shot. See how it goes. Well. Why not? Give Stitcher another try, even though they're literally the worst, and you should use anyone else to listen to your podcasts. And if you're hearing this, you are, because the show isn't on Stitcher. Because they broke our feed for like 4 months.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they also...
You have no control over a Stitcher feed because they literally steal your MP3 and rehost it.
No, and then they put ads of their own on it.
They do, and we don't get any money from it. Yeah.
No, they're weird. That's kind of sketchy.
It is weird. It is very strange. And they also like lower the bit rate. They don't upload it at the bit rate that you made it at. So it sounds worse on top of that.
Right. So and then everyone's using it, but you're listening to the less superior version anyway, and extra ads. Like, why would you do it?
I don't know.
Stop now if you are.
Know. Oh, and you know, it's the end of the show. We're just rambling at this point. We are very much looking into offering ad-free podcasts on Patreon now. They've changed up the way that they do their RSS feeds drastically. Like, they're really robust now. It used to be it like made a single link, and if anyone had it, they just had it forever. But now it burns an individual link feed. The way I understand it, it burns an individual feed for each and every patron. And if like they decline or they leave or they come back, if any change in their patronage happens other than continuing to give you money, it like no longer updates that feed. And if they come back, it just burns a new feed for them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to be looking into that. That should be going up pretty damn soon. We're looking at both for Angry Chicken and this show. So keep an eye out. We'll have some new perks for patrons very, very soon once we kind of figure out the best way to roll that from a production standpoint. So there's all of your updates here at the end of this week's Into the Nexus, which means nobody heard them. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Good luck and have fun, everyone.
Take care.